stop scrolling. If you felt torn between two choices this week, that wasn't random. Tonight, the moon enters Libra, and the universe stops asking politely. 5 signs are about to reveal exactly which side you were always meant to choose. Stay until sign 4. Almost everyone watching this is feeling it right now. Sign 1. The numbers that won't stop following you. You glance at the clock, and it's 11:11. You look away, and an hour later, it's 2:22. A receipt at the coffee shop reads $3.33. A license plate in front of you carries the same 3 digits from your childhood address. At first, you tell yourself it's coincidence, but it keeps happening. And somewhere underneath the logic, a quieter part of you already knows. This is not random. Numbers are one of the oldest languages the universe uses to get your attention because they cut through noise instantly. You cannot argue with a number. You cannot explain it away forever. And as the moon glides into Libra today, the sign of the scales, this pattern intensifies because Libra's entire purpose is balance. It shows you, in the clearest way possible, exactly where your life has tipped too far in one direction. Maybe you've been giving more than you receive. Maybe you've been staying quiet to keep the peace, agreeing when you meant to say no, showing up for everyone except yourself. The repeating numbers are not a threat. They are a mirror. They are the universe holding up the scale and asking you to look, really look, at what has been sitting unbalanced for far too long. Libra is ruled by Venus, the planet of love, worth, and harmony, which means these signs often appear right where you least expect them. In a relationship, in your self-worth, in the way you've quietly treated your own needs like an afterthought. If you've noticed the same number appearing around a specific person, a specific decision, or a specific place, pay close attention. That is not a coincidence. That is the universe circling something for you in red ink. Some of you have already felt this happening in just the last 48 hours. A song lyric answered a question you never said out loud. A stranger's sentence felt aimed directly at you. These moments are Libra energy preparing you, softening the ground before it asks you to make a real decision, because the deeper the imbalance, the louder the sign has to become to finally reach you. Here's what most people miss about synchronicity. It is not the universe congratulating you. It is the universe warming you up. It's the first knock on the door before the door opens all the way. If sign 1 has already found you, if you've felt that small shiver of "that's strange" more than once this week, do not brush past it. Sit with it for one quiet moment today and ask yourself honestly, where in my life is the scale tipped right now? Because the next sign will not be subtle at all. The next sign walks in wearing a familiar face. Sign 2, the face that suddenly becomes clear. Libra rules partnership, not friendship in the casual sense, partnership. The people you are bonded to, whose energy either lifts you or quietly drains you a little more each time you're together. And when the moon steps into Libra, one of the fastest, sharpest signs it triggers is sudden clarity about someone in your life. Maybe it happened while scrolling through old messages. Maybe it happened mid-conversation, when someone said something so small, so ordinary, and yet it hit you like a wave. You finally saw them clearly. Not who you wanted them to be, who they actually are. For some of you, this sign feels like relief. A friendship you've been overthinking suddenly makes sense. You realize the disconnect was simply distance, not betrayal. For others, this sign feels heavier. You finally see the pattern you've been excusing for months, maybe years. The one-sided effort, the conversations that only happen when they need something, the way your energy always gives and rarely receives. This is Libra doing exactly what Libra does best, showing you the scale between two people and refusing to let you look away from it any longer. You might also notice someone from your past resurfacing right now. A text after months of silence, a memory that surfaces out of nowhere, their name mentioned by someone unrelated. This is not always a sign to go back. Sometimes it's the universe showing you exactly how far you've grown since they were in your life, so you can finally close that chapter with peace instead of confusion. The uncomfortable truth about Libra energy is this: it does not let you stay comfortably unclear about people forever. Libra hates imbalance more than almost anything else in the zodiac, and relationships are where imbalance hides the longest because we convince ourselves that keeping the peace matters more than telling the truth. But peace built on silence is not peace, it is a debt. And today the universe is calling that debt in. If a specific person's face came to mind while you were listening to this, trust that. That is not your imagination working overtime. That is your intuition, sharpened by Libra's clarity, finally saying what it's been trying to tell you for weeks. You already know whether that relationship needs a boundary, a conversation, or a goodbye. You've known for a while. Today simply makes it impossible to keep pretending you don't. This sign rarely stays only in your mind, though. When your perspective on a relationship shifts this suddenly, your body feels it too. And that brings us to the third sign, the one your nervous system has already started reacting to, even if you haven't consciously noticed yet. Sign 3. Your body knew before your mind did. Before your mind catches up to a shift, your body already knows. This is one of the most overlooked truths in spirituality. Energy speaks to the nervous system first, and logic arrives last, dragging its feet behind everything you already felt in your chest hours or even days earlier. So if you've woken up at 3 a.m. for no clear reason this week, if you felt inexplicably tired despite sleeping enough hours, if tears have come out of nowhere while doing something completely ordinary, like washing dishes or driving in silence, this is your third sign, and it is one of the clearest. The moon governs emotion, memory, and the subconscious. When it moves into Libra, a sign obsessed with equilibrium, it forces an internal recalibration, like a scale resetting itself after too much weight has sat unevenly on one side for too long. And recalibration, even when it's healing you, rarely feels peaceful while it's happening. It feels heavy before it feels light, unsettled before it feels resolved. Some of you have felt oddly disconnected from your own routine the past couple of days, going through the motions of work, conversation, even meals, while some quieter part of you feels like it's floating just slightly outside your body, waiting for something to land. That sensation is not a malfunction. It is your intuition pulling back from the noise of daily life so it can finally hear the real signal underneath it. Others are experiencing the opposite: restless energy, a sudden need to move, clean, reorganize, or start something new out of nowhere. This is Libra's cardinal nature, showing up in your body before it shows up in your choices. Cardinal energy initiates. It does not wait patiently. And your body is already trying to move you toward whatever change is coming. Vivid dreams are especially common with this transit. Pay attention if you dreamed of scales, mirrors, courtrooms, doors, or two paths splitting apart last night. Your subconscious is not being random. It is rehearsing the very decision the universe is about to place in front of you while you're fully awake. None of this means something is wrong with you. It means something is realigning inside you, and realignment always asks the body to release tension before it can hold something new. Think of it the way a muscle aches right before it grows stronger. The discomfort is not the injury. It's the proof that change is actually happening. If you felt even one of these sensations this week, know that you are not imagining it, and you are certainly not alone. Your body has been preparing you for a decision your mind hasn't fully admitted yet, and that decision is exactly what the fourth sign is about to force into the open. Sign 4. The crossroads you cannot walk past. This is the sign this entire video was written for. This is the moment the universe stops whispering completely. Libra has a reputation for indecision, weighing every option, seeing every side, refusing to choose. But that reputation misses something important. Libra is also a cardinal sign, one of the 4 initiators of the zodiac. Cardinal energy does not sit still forever. It builds pressure, and pressure eventually demands movement. So when the moon enters Libra, it does not create more hesitation. It ends it. Look at your life right now, honestly, for just a moment. Is there a decision you've been avoiding? A job offer sitting unanswered? A conversation you keep rehearsing but never having? A relationship you're neither fully in nor fully out of? A move, a boundary, a yes or no you've been circling for weeks without ever landing anywhere. Today, that avoidance becomes impossible to sustain. A deadline appears. Someone asks you directly. An opportunity that was patient for months suddenly isn't patient anymore. This is not the universe being cruel. This is the universe finally being honest with you, because staying undecided was never actually neutral. It was already a choice. It was the choice to let time or other people decide for you instead of choosing for yourself. Here is the part almost no one tells you about Libra energy. Fairness does not mean pleasing everyone. Real balance sometimes requires disappointing someone, including a version of yourself that wanted to avoid discomfort a little longer. The scales do not measure how nice you were. They measure how true you were to your needs, your values, your own life. If you feel torn right now between 2 options, notice which one keeps returning to your mind even when you try to distract yourself. Notice which choice makes your chest feel tight with fear, and which one makes it feel tight with excitement. Because those 2 sensations are not the same, even though they can feel almost identical in the moment. Fear says, "What if this goes wrong?" Excitement, wrapped in fear, says, "What if this actually works?" You do not need every detail resolved to choose. You do not need certainty. Certainty is not what the universe is asking for today. It is asking for honesty. Pick the side that aligns with who you actually are. Not the side that keeps the most people comfortable, not the side that avoids the most conflict. This is the moment your entire month pivots around, whether you consciously choose it or let it happen to you by default. And once you do choose, once you finally set that heavy weight down on one side of the scale, something remarkable happens almost immediately. The universe answers back. That is the 5th and final sign, and it is the one that will tell you without a single doubt that you chose correctly. Sign 5. The answer that confirms you chose right. Choosing is only half of this transit. The second half is what happens right after, and this is the sign that turns fear into faith for almost everyone who experiences it. Once you make your decision, however small or however massive, watch closely over the next 24 to 48 hours. Feathers appearing in places they shouldn't be. A stranger's offhand comment that answers a question you never asked out loud. A song playing at the exact moment you needed to hear its words. Mirror hours like 4:44 or 5:55 showing up right as you're processing what you just chose. Libra is deeply connected to fairness, truth, and justice. The actual scales of justice are its symbol for a reason. So when you finally align with the truest, most honest version of your choice, the universe tends to respond with confirmation that feels almost too precise to be coincidence. Not because magic is rewarding you, but because you have stopped fighting your own alignment, and everything simply flows easier when you're no longer working against yourself. Some of you will feel an immediate wave of relief, like a held breath finally releasing. Others will feel a quieter, steadier sense of rightness, even if the decision itself was painful. Both are valid confirmations. Peace does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it arrives as simply the absence of the constant internal argument you've been having with yourself for weeks. Pay attention, too, to how people around you respond once you've chosen. Support may appear from directions you didn't expect, while resistance may come from people who benefited from your old, unbalanced way of living. This is not punishment. It is simply the scale settling into its new, honest position. And not everyone in your life was standing on the side that could hold that honesty. If you recognized even 2 or 3 of these 5 signs today, this was never a random video you happened to click on. Libra's moon does not speak to everyone the same way, and yet here you are. That is its own kind of sign. One more confirmation, stacked quietly on top of the rest. The universe rarely asks loudly more than once. Today, it asked 5 times. The only question left is what you plan to do with an answer this clear. If even one of these 5 signs found you today, you are exactly where you're meant to be, watching this at exactly the right moment. And that is not an accident. Take a screenshot of the sign that hit hardest and let it remind you, days from now, of the choice you made while the moon sat in Libra. Tell me in the comments which sign you felt the strongest, 1 through 5, because your story might be exactly what someone else scrolling past tonight needs to read. If this video found you at the right time, hit like so the universe can carry it to more people who need it, and subscribe because tomorrow's transit brings a shift none of you will want to miss. The scales are balanced now. The choice is made. Walk forward steady, because for the first time in a while, you are finally standing on solid ground. See you in the next one.